All right, we are
All
live.
right. Yep. Live on the west side. You know,
uh,
live on the west
we
side.
got LA
Here with
Swamp Ape as our guest today. How's it
How's it
going?
going? Good.
good
How's
evening,
everybody doing?
Carl. How are you?
Doing
I'm
good,
doing
man. Just
fine,
trying to
mighty
beat the
fine.
heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, we are too.
yeah.
So you're in what part of Louisiana are you in?
I'm in South Louisiana.
South
Right around,
Louisiana.
yeah, just on the outskirts of Lafayette, Louisiana. Almost
Oh,
middle of the state.
right. Yeah. That's serious swampland around there, right? Some areas.
Well, quarter mile from me, people don't know this. We have the largest swamp in America. It's called the Chafalaya
Oh
Swamp.
wow.
A lot of people
The
think it's the
Chapalaya,
Everglades,
right?
but it's not. It's right here. And this thing runs half the state down to the Gulf of Mexico. So it's
Wow.
huge.
Dang. Dang. That is
Yeah,
massive.
it is.
Jeez. Jeez. But what got you into the subject? You just started noticing stuff, or
Well, I guess the first indication that we ever knew something was wrong. We had went to the store on the weekend. Pets. We had two German shepherds. Okay, we went to the store. We bought a 50-pound bag of dog food. This was like in June. So we get home on a Saturday. My wife, I didn't know at the time, had went dump it into the container outside where we kept it. It has a lid that snaps. You have to snap the lid so no, critters could get into it. So we buy it on a Saturday, and I come home from work on a Monday, and she asked me to go feed the dogs. I said sure. So I went outside, and it's almost gone, just a few pieces of dog food. So I poked my head back in the door. I said, well, Rachel, where's the new bag of dog food? She said, well, I put it in there Saturday after we came back from the store. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They went through 50 pounds of dog food in 2 days. And we didn't really think anything of it. It's just dogs eating food, So, but, looking back on it, that was just too much food. So what really got the ball rolling was December 4th, 2018. I come home from work, same thing. Can you go feed the dog? Sure. Walk outside. It's almost, it's wintertime. It's almost dark, just enough light to see. And I'm throwing the rope with my dogs, playing with them. And I noticed they wouldn't come straight at me. They would come around, drop the rope on the side of me, which I kind of found unusual. So I didn't really think anything of it, just threw it, just kept throwing the rope. And then all of a sudden I look down, and here I see this 17-inch human oily footprint. Looked like something had stepped in oil. I was like, what the hell? Because I know I'll wear like a size 11 and a half. My son, he might wear a 12, 12 and a half, but this was a huge footprint. And it didn't really, I guess, set in at the time. I said, well, I'm going to take a picture of this. Because I said, this is like Shaquille O'Neal size. Bigfoot never really crossed my mind, to be honest with you. So I took a picture of it. It took me like 2 days. I kept looking at the picture, and it stayed on the concrete for about 5 days. So I went on YouTube, started looking up some videos. I came across Carrie Arnold with Bigfoot Odyssey, and he had his phone number on there. So I called him and I sent him the picture. I said, man, what do you make of this? If you've been around these things, and I really didn't believe in them. I always thought there could be a possibility that they existed. But like I said, I thought they were in your part of the country. And so he came back right away and said, Carl, he said, I think that's a skunk ape. I was like, a skunk ape? What the heck is a skunk ape? He said, well, it's kind of like a Sasquatch or Bigfoot, but they live more in the southern, you know, range. He said, a little bit smaller, not as big, and they seem to have a little bit badder attitude. I'm like, okay. I didn't really know if I bought it then or not. I was like, okay, this guy's telling me I have a skunk ape in my backyard, and just kind of went from there. He suggested, if you want to catch it, you want to see what it is for sure. He said, without spending a lot of money, he said, go buy a nanny cam. Said it's easy to use. I mean, you just set it up, just make sure you get one that records. So we did. We went and bought a nanny cam, and we put that up, and it's like that's when things changed totally. That's when they started throwing the rocks, and it's almost like it made them mad
Yeah,
because
they
we
know
put up
that
that
camera's
camera.
there.
That's crazy. I
That's
mean,
crazy. It just
I
shows
don't know
you.
how. Well, and another thing
It's
too, I
a
left out that we had been
it's a proven
finding.
fact that um all electronics, they put out a signal. It's almost like a dog whistle. We can't hear it, but
Right.
it may hurt their ears, which is why they don't like it. You know what I mean?
I don't know, maybe so. And I forgot I left out all the dead animals prior to this that we were finding in our backyard. Just like I always explain it, no mark on them, no trauma, no blood loss. Just looked like somebody just killed them, just grabbed their neck and just strangled them and just dropped them over the fence. And I can't tell. I think we found like 3 dead possums, a squirrel, a big, huge rat. I've never seen a rat that big in my life. And somebody brought up the fact that, hey, they were probably trading you the squirrels and possums and stuff for the dog food, because that's a big thing with them. They say they like to trade. Like I said, we
Yeah,
were
I've heard.
brand new into this.
Yeah, I've heard stories about them trading with the Indians way back in the day. So it's almost like a cat bringing you a dead mouse. Look what I did. Hey, here's a gift.
Right. Yeah. But that's not a good trade. 50, well, I think at the time, $65 a bag, that dog food we were buying. And, they were leaving dead possums and squirrels. I never ate a possum and I don't intend to, but people tell me they're not too good. So that's not too good of a trade.
No, but at the same time, they don't understand that. So, you know,
Right.
but, I mean, they haven't hurt anybody or your dogs yet. So,
Yeah.
sounds like you're dealing with a pretty respectful group. They're just their way of doing things is different than ours. You know what I mean? So,
I like
Yeah.
how they throw the bone to your dog. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's at one point, you can go watch several videos. Like my dogs would run up to the fence, almost like they were glad to see him, like an old friend, or somebody who they were glad to see. They were just looking up at the fence like amazed. And I don't know, somebody said they could be doing something to him. What was it, infrasound?
Well, there was a video that I've seen that they're Indians, and they used to go to this people's house and give the dog bones, and they were like big bones, but the dog was always tied up. So they don't know how the dog was getting the bones, but the other 2 dogs never got the bones because the other 2, they didn't like those 2 dogs. They only
Okay.
liked that one dog. So they kept feeding that dog. And then when the girl went off to go somewhere, that she found that dog rubbing against the legs of the Bigfoots and kicking back with them.
Really?
Yeah. So they just choose what dogs they like, and they like your dog, it looks like.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, what we started doing once we realized what was going on, and got the good video camera, is we started letting our dogs in at night, because, we didn't want to trust them and, have them kill one of our dogs. So the rock throwing, a lot of people say, well, they're doing that to get your attention. They want you to come out the house. I don't think so. I don't think they're looking for us. I think they're looking for the dogs, to see if the dogs are out, or they're going to come out, or, whatever.
That could very well be. You know what I mean? They want to get on the good side of their enemy. You know what I mean? You
Right.
know, make friends. That way, when they come up, the dogs don't bark. They smell their scent and they know it's a familiar smell, and they're not going to bark.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, you showed us, the trail on behind that fence. I mean, that's a well-worn trail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and then I think your neighbors have had a couple of their short chain link fence. The top bars were bent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean that I don't know if you've installed any chain link fences or anything, but those bars they're not cheap and they're not flimsy. You know what I mean?
No, I
I
remember
mean,
as a kid, we had one growing up, and I remember I stood on that thing and jumped on it many times, and it never bent. I mean, so whatever, and it's not the crazy thing about it is it's bowed like this. It's not like it's something hit it, on one side or the other. It's bowed like somebody stood on it, or
like someone put their hands on it, put one foot over it, put their weight on their hands, and lifted their foot over the other side.
maybe
That's
so.
what it looks. Like
Right.
how an adult would get over it. I mean, they would just put their hands on it, and put a leg over it, then a leg over, and just kind of, and that puts all your weight down on that pole instead of from side to side.
Well, and another thing too is Carrie gave me probably the best advice out of everybody. He said, treat these things like people,
Mm-hmm.
not like animals. He
They are
said
people.
they think exactly. I agree with you 110%. They are. That's what I think they are. People always ask me, what do you think they are? They're some kind of race of people. I don't know
They're
what they
people.
are.
Absolutely.
And because what they would do to come back here and take dog food almost would have to be like a cat burglar and not be seen.
Yep.
I mean, these things are slick, man. They are sharp. I
Mhm.
mean, they really are sharp.
I'm sure you've seen how quiet deer can move through the woods. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Yeah, they're just as quiet. I mean, one could come up right behind you and you wouldn't know it until it tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hi."
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy part is a lot of people say they do a lot of crawling, and which probably would explain those half footprints I found. Those half greasy footprints. I don't know if I sent you those pictures or not, across the street around the next street, because they would have to almost crawl to get here to not be seen, because usually people aren't looking at the ground level, they're looking eye level or a little bit higher. So I have those two weird half footprints, and it looks like half of the back of the foot.
Yep.
So, and from what several things I've heard is like they can almost maneuver like spiders. you know it's hard to believe something that big could maneuver like a spider, but
Yeah. They're
I mean,
fast.
I'll verify the crawling thing. I mean, the ones I'm hanging out with in my area and stuff, we don't have any real trees. It's
mhm,
just really big bushes. So what they do is they hollow out these bushes and they make tunnels from bush to bush, through the canopy.
right,
And you would have to crawl. I mean,
yeah,
I have a picture of one laying on its belly, looking at me through the bushes. You know, so
yep,
they absolutely do crawl. You know, yeah,
oh,
they're. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They're very militaristic in their
right,
movements. They're
exactly,
very coordinated
yep.
and they're very cautious about their surroundings. They know what they need to do and
Yep.
they're quiet about it.
There's been a lot of reports of their knees being bald and calloused, and a lot of times they have mud on their sides because they lay down the riverbeds on the sides by the trees. So they hide out and they stay cool in there, but they also do a lot of belly crawls and knees because there's been a lot of reports of their knees being bald and full of callus.
Well, and I have a theory about that too, because the one I saw running that
Mhm.
afternoon, the skin was gray. on it.
Mm.
And here, the oldest trick in the book is if you ever get caught in the swamp at night and you get eaten up by mosquitoes, what you do is you rub yourself down with mud all in
Yep.
your face, all
All
over
over.
your body.
Yep.
And it just so happens the mud here is gray because it has a lot of clay in it.
Right.
So it does have a great consistency look to it.
Yep.
So
And they do a lot of that, put the hair in their face to keep people from seeing them. But I think it also helps with mosquitoes.
yes.
Right.
Well, and I think, you know, as crazy as it might sound, is I think because I've seen one in broad daylight in the open, and it covered his face.
Yeah, only one eye.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So is it thinking if they can't see you, then you can't see them? Is that the way they think?
Well, I think it's better for them when they're in the bushes, and they're usually hiding that way anyway. They're only looking at you with one eye anyhow. So why not cover it all up? And then when you're behind a bunch of brush, you know, it's really, really hard to see a face when you're only doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they can see you, and you can't see them.
Right. And then of course they'll have branches. They've always got some sort of cover coming across their face to help break it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, going with the crawling and stuff like that and hiding in the mud, you know, I mean, I've got a picture of one that literally stopped where it was and balled up and almost like on its butt and, you know, pulled its knees up to its chest and tucked its head in to look like a bush. But you look at the picture, you're like, that's not a bush, that's hair. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I laughed because I just got this, it looks so childish. You know what I mean? And like you said, you know, if I don't move, you can't see me kind of thing.
Exactly.
And that's the whole impression I got from that freaking screenshot. And I look at it and I laugh because it just reminds me of a child. Oh no, don't move. You know, and it's like,
yep.
It's hilarious, you know. I mean,
so
they're not animals, they're human, they're some type of people, and they have a sense of humor. Unfortunately, sometimes their humor just doesn't jive with us, like giving you gifts of possums and dead animals.
Well, and sometimes they do the craziest things. One of the weirdest things they ever did was me and my wife was working outside doing some little arts and crafts projects. I brought some pallets home for work. She loves to do that kind of stuff. So we bought a brand new pair of scissors. And this is before we even got clued in what was going on. But a brand new pair of scissors. This is like on Saturday. We were working outside, left the scissors outside, came back the next day. We're like, well, where are the scissors? Can't find the scissors. Where'd the scissors go? Never did find the scissors. Okay, gone. So about 2 months later, when we got clued in what was going on, we started kind of looking every day for tracks and stuff in the yard to see if they were coming into the yard. And we were walking by the fence, kind of by that tree, and she looks down, she said, what is this? And she reaches down and picks it up. It's a clump of hair, and it looks like it's been cut with scissors. And it's reddish brown. And we tried burning it. It burns. It's not moss. I don't think it's hair from a squirrel because it's too long. I don't know if I sent you that picture or not, but we were going to have it tested. There's a primate lab about 40 minutes from here. And I knew somebody who was going to just do me a favor, but they told me it was going to cost me like $1,500 to have it tested. And they said it was contaminated because my wife had touched it. I'm like, well, and we know what the studies come back as. I mean, you know, so I have a clump of hair sitting in a Ziploc bag in my garage, along with our other, you know, casting and, you know, all our other paraphernalia.
You know, the tests aren't cheap, and you know, and it always, like you said, you know, it always comes back either contaminated or human. Well, of course, it's going to come back human. They're a people. it makes sense. You know what I mean? And I don't know if this is just kind of something I've tossed around in my brain. It's like you get scientists, find these bones of cavemen and Neanderthal and the Denisovans and the Homo floresiensis and all this stuff. And it's like, but there's a link, there's something missing between this and
Right.
us. Well, you can't find it because it's still alive out roaming the dang woods. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Do you guys remember about, I want to say maybe 5 to 10 years ago, there was a show. It was two brothers. They were in Maine or somewhere like that, up north, northeast. And they were finding these big, huge skeletons, 7, 8, 9, 10 feet. And out in the middle of the woods. I mean, nowhere, nothing around. And these like elaborate rock graves that were underneath the ground. I mean, I started to think after all this was going on, I was like, man, could this been what they were finding?
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm sure the Smithsonian Institute stepped in and said, "Oh, we'll take those and we'll study them for you and stuff." Nope,
That's how it usually happens too. And then they say, "What bodies?"
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
what bones? We never received no skeletons. We don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I mean,
So we got some.
going on since
we
the
got
30s or something.
Yeah, it's been a while. They've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
So we got pictures. You want me to put up some pictures while we still have, and you can explain about each picture while I put them up?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That way you can give everybody a rundown about the pictures and kind of get an idea. So we can. Let me get in here. Oops, not that picture. That's the wrong picture, guys. All right,
it's a good one.
It is. All right, so we got this one here. Let's see. Well, wherever it went. All right. Can you guys see how big that is, or is that? I can't tell. Is that big enough?
Well, I don't think you can really see the whole thing, but
there.
That's the same size, 17 inches. Because when I talked to Carrie, he said you need to go back in the yard and look, because he said there has to be more prints. Like, okay, so I'm thinking, as a normal person, you step here, you step here, you step here, like staggered. I'm looking for staggered footprints. But it was weird because every footprint I found was straight. So that kind of threw me off.
Straight in a line.
Yeah,
in a straight line. Yeah,
tightrope pattern.
Yes, there was no staggered off to the side, almost like a model walking down the runway.
Yep.
Just step over step,
like a tightrope walker.
Yes.
Think about this, Carl. You know why they do that? Because they walk on logs. They're log walkers.
I bet.
Think about it that way. They walk on logs so they don't get, sit in the swamp, get their feet in the swamp too much, or it's obviously going to be easier to travel down a log than it is in a big mucky muddy swamp.
Well, I heard it's because of they're so big that if they walk like we did, if they took the right step, they'd fall to the right. If they took a left foot step, because they're really heavy, they're way heavier than we are. So if they walk in a tightrope pattern, they're always centered. So that way they're staying upright.
Right.
I think that they're so massive.
The biggest part of this, and you'll see it when we tried to cast it, but the soil here is just not good for casting tracks. It's just too swampy. The whole thing came out the ground, grass and all. So, but you'll see on the cast, what did show up is how deep it is in the ground and where the weight is, almost in the center of the foot.
So we go to that one right here.
That's it. Yes.
There we go. A little bit bigger.
Now that's the identical footprint that you're going to see, the greasy, oily footprint on the cement. And I've looked and looked and looked, and I've never seen one on cement, a footprint.
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's a really important footprint because you can see a lot of detail and you can see exactly where the weight is. It's almost like a stamp.
Mhm.
You can see where the weight is, just like this. You can see where the weight is on the foot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I mean, you know, the toes, looking at it here, the toes are to the right.
Yeah. Over
I
here on this
think.
side.
Right. Right.
Yes. Yes. I think you see the little toe maybe right here kind of sticking out right there.
Yeah. Yeah. See that right there. Yeah. That's pretty cool right there. That's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
one. How many inches?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
that's
they
17, right?
definitely walk.
17. Yep.
That's impressive.
Okay. That's still
So
than
if we go by the so-called theory of judging how big an individual is, so if that's 17 inches, you cut that in half. Um, so that would be what, 8.5 feet?
So
Eight,
yeah,
16. So 8.5 feet tall. That
that
would be an 8.5 feet tall individual right there, supposedly.
now this is the interesting one. This is the half footprint I told you about, where I think that's what they do, what they leave when they're crawling.
yeah, or
Because that's
running
Right.
really fast.
Right.
yes.
Because I got half
Yeah.
footprint that one in the sand when they ran from me when I got there. They only left a half of a front half of the footprint because they were booking.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You know.
if you look at, I worked at a prosthetic shop and I learned a lot about feet and how locomotion and humans and stuff is. When we walk, heel first hits the ground and our foot rolls into the toes and we push off on our toes.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
these people, they have what they call as a mid-tarsal break. So
Mhm.
instead of folding at the toes like ours does, it folds in the middle of the foot like an ape.
Okay.
Um, and if they were running just as humans do, when a human runs, they run on their toes.
Well, I'm gonna
Um,
tell you what.
Now, if they were running, they would be running on that from that mid-tarsal break forward, which would leave that half-looking print. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the one I did see that day running, I'm telling you, it was doing all of 30 to 35 miles an hour. It was
Oh, that's
I,
slow. That's slow.
cartoonish, almost
That's
like a cartoonish movement. You know, the old cartoons back in the day where they running, you see the legs doing that. But it was weird
yep.
because, and it could have been holding something, but its arms was by its side and it was just barely swaying like this. And it was running wide open. And what it did went down into that culvert, that cement culvert filled with those big chunks of rocks. You're talking about a 20-foot drop. Like I said before, you give me the best athlete today, they cannot duplicate that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they might be able to run fast up to that Coley, but when they get down in it, no, they're going
No,
slow.
I mean,
Their speed is gonna drop significantly once they get
oh
down
yeah,
in them big rocks. You know?
and it did,
Yeah,
it did.
like you said, it's like a freaking cartoon. It's just like their feet
Yes,
are just a blur. It's just a blur. And I mean, I think 35 miles, like you said, that's slow. I mean, I've seen
every
up in northern Idaho. I mean, they're just flashes of black, just black streaks
yes,
running through the freaking woods. And they're silent, absolutely silent. I don't know how they manage that, but but you said you saw it with its hands down at its side. So maybe that's what they do is they just put their hands down at their side, put their head, and they just, things
it.
just, kind of
I
just deflect off of them.
the best explanation I can give, what kind of motion, if you take the old patty film and speed it up about 4 or 5 times, that same motion with the legs, but the arms were just like this. Just, it wasn't, not like a person running. It was the arms were not, like I said, I didn't see it that long, and it was moving so fast, and I was actually scared I was going to hit it, because if it would have ran across the street, I would have hit it. You know, I was coming at the same speed, and I actually had to slow down, and this damn thing runs into the culvert, and I think Carrie Arnold has it on video. One sitting in the culvert. If you want to go check out the Bigfoot episode or Odyssey episode we did, I think it's episode 7. I think he caught one sitting in that culvert, kind of leaning back up against that culvert.
Yeah, yeah. They'll sit there, they'll just find a nook. And I mean, like you said, you know, if I don't move, you don't see me, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and it's true. I mean, probably at 50 or 60 feet, if you were looking, he would probably blend right in. He would probably blend right into the side of that hill. And as long as he don't move, you ain't going to see him. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, they're very, like you said, they're very stealthy and they're very sly. So, and they're funny. And
can you show that one footprint
with the bone?
No, yeah, with the on the cement.
The bone on the cement, or the footprint?
The footprint with the little bone on the
footprint.
Now that's a 6. I didn't have the tape measured in. That's a 6-inch bone.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me move it back over there, and then
that's one of those typical bones you buy from the dog store.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me put it over there and share it.
Now, to me, out of everything we have, that is the most impressive thing to me, right there, because you can see where the weight of the foot is. You can see that. You can even see the back part. Right. How there's, it's not marked all the way, and the weight is in. And look at the little hole in the toes. You see where the hole is in where the clit right there. You see where the weight is.
Yeah, it's all right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're running flat-footed.
That's a big old toe going to the left too. It's huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a primate.
Yeah.
That's a trait.
Yeah, like if you're saying if this bone is 6 inches, if we move that up, you're probably looking at that 17-inch individual right there.
Yep.
That's a big,
probably that same one. Do you think?
And look at 6 inches across.
Do you think you have just one individual? Yeah.
No.
Do you think you have just one individual coming to your house? Or do you have several?
No, I think we see them. We usually see 3s. They come in 3s.
There's a face right here.
Yes, that's it. And there's a face. It looks like one right to the left of it.
Right there.
Looks like a smaller one. Yes.
Yeah.
You can. And that was weird, because I think I caught him by surprise that night. I went outside.
That was through your window, right? Your kitchen window.
That was what?
Was that through your kitchen window?
Well, no, I was outside at this time. I was laying in bed, and I heard, and I can only explain it as that crazy metallic whistle. So I heard that. It's about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So at this point, we kind of knew what was going on. So I said, I'm gonna go. I didn't like the idea, because I'm gonna tell you now, I'm scared of them. Something that big, I don't want to mess with. I'm scared of them. So I said, I'm gonna go, and Carrie told me not to change anything, because once they know you're on to them, things change. So I went outside. I acted like I was feeding my dogs, and something was just telling me to look in that corner, or I could feel something in that corner. And I had my phone with me. I took my phone with me, and I had it reversed, and I held it real close in. Didn't have the flash on. So when I was walking in, I just took a series of 3 pictures, and that's what came up on the picture. Now I don't know if I sent the daytime comparison picture, but there is nothing there. It's not pareidolia, because there's no bushes, so it's something there. I mean, and somebody did almost a reverse polarity on it, did like an infrared shot, and you can see the damn eyeball and the pupil and the one looking right at us over the fence. And I still say to this day, that is a
Right.
female. I don't know why, just my gut feeling. That is a female for some reason. I
Yeah.
would bet everything I own that's a female.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. It's probably a female and a male coming around most of the time, you know. And then they probably have one off in the distance running cover, running security, you know.
Well, and you know, we're not researchers, but I guess we're observers, you know, because we have that camera running 24 hours a day. And, you know, I always say everything in nature has a pattern. So if you watch it long enough, so do we. You know, we do almost the same thing every day. So I just noticed certain things, and we have it on video. Like, you know, for instance, that rock we have recorded several times. And I think that's some kind of like warning, like, hey, heads up, you know, somebody's coming. Because on one of the videos, there's a truck passing 2 streets over. It's a big, loud diesel truck. And you hear 2 little clacks, clack, clack, clack. And then you hear the truck coming and you hear a rock. And then the truck slowly passes by, clears, and then you hear 2 clacks and a wood knock from the woods back here. So I think they work as a team, like we said before, you know, like military precision. I think they just use natural ambient sounds because it doesn't alert people, you know?
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right.
I mean, you know, look, believe me, I'm far from an expert. I mean, I don't know. I watched it. Because once you see one of these things, you guys know, you get obsessed with this, man. You want to know everything, anything, what they are, what do they want. I mean, and you don't get any answers. That's the crazy thing. About the only answer, clear-cut answer I ever got, because we have it on video, is whoops. So I was at lunch one day, and there was a Louisiana wildlife and fishery agent in there eating. I said, I'm gonna go talk to him. So I went to talk to him. I said, hey man, can you tell me something? He said, sure. I said, what in the state of Louisiana whoops? He said, nothing. I said, there's no animal, no bird, anything, not even a whooping crane. He said, oh, Lord, no. He said, a whooping crane makes the god awfulest squawking noise you ever heard. He said, why? He said, are you hearing whoops? I said, yes. He said, where? I said, at my home. He said, where do you live? I said, well, it's time for me to go. Because, you know, I've heard nothing. But, you know, people ask me that all the time. Have you called the game wardens? Have you called the police? Have you called this? No, I haven't.
Don't do that.
Nope. That was one thing made clear to me from the beginning.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't
You'll be hauled off.
No.
Yeah, and they'll probably come over there and take care of them. You don't want anything to, you know, risk anything, especially around your house.
No. And, you know, people always suggest, you know, put up mirrors, put up cameras, extra cameras, put up this, do this, which are all great ideas if I was 200 miles in the middle of the woods.
Right.
But people don't understand, we have to live here. And if we change just the little slightest thing, I'm talking about moving a dog house 2 feet over, it pisses them off. They start throwing rocks at the house, start grunting, start hitting on the tree.
Yeah.
You know, I got one of the loudest wood knocks you're probably ever going to hear, and my dog's right next to the damn tree. And so I can't take a chance, man. They're throwing little hunks of rocks, and what's next? If I make them mad, they're gonna start throwing trees at the house. You know.
Yeah, they don't like change. I knew that too. I noticed that they don't like change.
And you know, people always say, you know, or ask me, well, why do you think these things are just coming to your house? Well, I don't think that at all. I think they're coming all through these neighborhoods.
Mhm.
And I think the reasoning is just looking at it, because we live in an old plantation and we live on top of an earthquake fault. We're 20 foot higher than the rest of us.
Mhm.
And when we moved here 20 years ago, the main street came to a stop and it was nothing but woods
Mhm.
for miles. Now all those woods are gone and it's subdivision, these big, beautiful houses they built. Okay, well, what if we're living on top of their house and
Right.
they still see this as their property and they want to make sure that we're not messing up the land, or if they don't like something, they protest, they let us know.
Yep. Yeah, it could be the dog food that they keep coming back for. I mean, for them, I think it's always something that's always food related. If I was like them, I would be, looking for food constantly. You know.
I think what it is too, I've heard a lot about this. I think they really almost have like ADD.
Yeah.
Like people ask me, say, well, if you're taking the dog food in, why do they still come? I think they get stuck in a pattern, and
Right.
even though they know they're not going to get any dog food, they still have to come
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
it's
they do the
part.
same thing over and over and over.
Yes,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
they get upset if you change it because that
Have,
changes them. And
yeah.
then I notice in recordings they'll say the same things over and over. Like I have recordings of them talking, but they'll do the same talk over and over and over and over. And it's like, what are you doing?
Well,
I mean,
no. Well, I'm glad I have you two
have you
guys here.
seen? Have you
No,
seen Christopher Noel's video on the autism?
yes, yes, and I
I mean,
find that
he hit on absolutely incredible because I
he's.
mean, it is so indicative of autistic. You know what I mean? And childish. And it's incredible.
That is, to me, is right on the money. What we
I
now, I
agree.
can't speak for every situation, but what we experience here, that is right on the money to what kind of behavior we see, and the things that they do. And
Yeah,
whoever came
absolutely.
up, with that theory, I think they nailed it. Because
Oh yeah, I mean,
they did.
well,
They did.
Christopher Noel hit on it. I mean, he started seeing that stuff literally right behind his house, just like you. I
right.
mean, that trail is literally right behind his house. He turns around and there's the back of his house. You know what I mean? And he started noticing that stuff, and he's all, "Why does this seem so weird?" And he started looking into autism, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Bingo, bingo, bingo." You know what I
Yep.
mean? And it all fits.
Well, let
You
me
know?
let me let me ask you guys a question, because it sounds like y'all have been doing this for a while, and y'all might. I don't. You're probably not gonna have the answer, but you can probably get close to it. Okay, we've all heard their language, and it seems like it's sped up 2 or 3 times faster than ours. Okay, so does that mean that their brain works faster, 2 or 3 faster than times faster than ours? Is that why we're always getting outsmarted and they're a step ahead of us? Could that be a possibility?
I don't think it's so much as their brain working faster, but more of them being able to use a bigger percentage of their.
Maybe it could be
Yeah.
also. It could also be like that. Because we don't know their language. We don't know if it's way faster because we don't know what words they're actually saying in their conversation. Like Spanish might sound really fast, but
Mm-hmm.
we may take it
Right.
thinking that why they can talk fast, but they're not saying as
Yes.
much as what we would
Right.
have to say. So it may not be that fast. They might be moving their lips really fast, or their words are coming out faster, but it may not be to them. It might not be like that. You know,
Right.
but they
Well,
even talk slow. Even on recorder, they talk really slow and airy. I think that when they're talking to themselves, they do that, because
right.
nobody else is around. But But I think when they're more upset or, with anxiety or something, they start talking really, really fast, you know?
Well, we've even heard we've heard English, Spanish,
Mhm.
and French.
Mhm.
So, a lot of people have said, in some type of language, like, what everybody else hears that nobody knows what it is, but it's probably their native language. But through the hundreds and hundreds of years, they probably picked up a little bit of here, a little bit there. I mean,
Yeah.
I totally believe they can understand English.
Yeah.
I
I
really
think so
do.
too. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I don't think they can speak it as much as probably,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Maybe. I don't know. I never heard
Well,
them speak it.
and
I mean, Carl, you know this just as much as I do and stuff. I mean, they're literally in our backyards. I mean, in your case,
well,
they're literally in your backyard.
Yeah.
They're coming. I mean, they're a lot closer to people than what people think. You
Yeah.
don't have to go miles and
no,
miles out into the woods to have. They're
no,
literally at the fringes. You know what I mean? And they're
yep,
watching us. They're studying us just as we are studying them. Unfortunately, 98% of the human population just blows it off like it doesn't exist. You know what I
right.
mean? But
Right.
I mean, they're oh, like you said, over years and years and years of being so close and hearing us talk. And I think English, Spanish, and French are your three main languages in Louisiana, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's it. I mean,
So
so
they hear all of it. They're picking it up and they're passing it on to their children and after generation and generation.
right.
So I
you
mean,
know, and part of uh, the story I leave out, and I didn't do it intentionally. It's just I never really thought about it. But once I started thinking about it, is if you ever seen in any of our videos, we had the little shed that's straight ahead, and off to the left is what we call the apartment. Because my dad lived with us for 10 years when my mom passed away. He had had a stroke and he wasn't capable of living on his own because he was taking blood thinners and, just medication because he had some heart issues. And he used to come in the morning and tell us, "Hey, who was beating on my door at 2:30 this morning?" Like, "Dad, what are you talking about?" We thought it was just, the stroke. He kind of, and we never put any credence to it. But then again, I've heard where they're kind of attracted to people with illnesses, especially like somebody like what he had dementia and things like that. So I don't know if he might have drawn them. I say drawn
That's
them
what
in.
I heard of too.
Yes,
I I was tempted to go out into the woods acting crippled because I heard that they were throwing rocks at one person because the person was blind with a guide dog, and they threw rocks only at that person. And so I was tempted to go out and do that, but I don't know if I want to get. I don't know how
no,
big of a rock they're going to throw. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
And hey, that's an interesting thing too.
yeah,
Okay, they're not just we just don't have rocks in our yard, in our neighbor's yard, or they're just
we have to
available
go
right here.
get them.
Yes,
Yeah,
they have to. And it's not rocks; it's little hunks of cement. When they built these slabs, or when they built these coolies, they put them in the turns for the washouts and stuff. So for them to have the mindset, well, I'm going to take these rocks and I'm going to go throw it at this guy's house. That's thinking. I
yeah,
mean, man,
that's intelligent.
that's intent. I
Yeah,
mean, to think,
planning
like I
it
that's
all
said,
out.
absolutely intent.
yeah. I mean, so when you start looking, it's
Yeah.
like everybody wants to put them in a box with a bow, nice wrapped up bow. Like, here you go, here they are. But I don't think you can. I think there's two. I think I don't know if we have time to get into that. I think they possess some abilities that we can't even imagine having. And I think I have it on video.
Mhm.
But Lewis, what is it I always say? They definitely possess a unique set of skills and abilities.
Oh yeah, they do.
Always.
Here's a question
Always.
for you.
I always say that.
Yep. Always do.
Well, I think that question is for all of us.
Yeah,
You know?
everybody. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I believe, yeah, Lewis's and I don't know. Me, I think something happened. Unfortunately, we're not going to know because everybody's going to die with that information. So let's just, it happened in 1967. Let's just move on and go forward. We don't need to live in the past. We need to go forward.
Yeah.
So let's get over it. We ain't never going to find out. So,
No, I don't
Carl,
want
you're up on that question.
Well, I know I feel 100% the same way. I mean, it's ancient history. It might have happened, it might not have happened, but was there a crime involved? Because theoretically, these things don't exist. So how can you kill something that doesn't exist? So if they would take these guys to court and say, "Hey, you choose these human type creatures." First of all, if it is the case, somebody probably knows where they're buried. Go dig them up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's probably some DNA
Prove
that
it.
you can probably still get out of those bones. I mean, go dig them up.
Yeah.
And plus, too, like if someone were to take them and put them in a court of law and say you killed these, human type beings, well, then that would be the government admitting that these things exist.
Exactly.
Also, so
Yep.
it's a catch-22 no matter how you look at it. You're
Right.
damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So
Yeah.
let's just get over it, move on, and let's think about the future.
We got to go forward. It's crazy because I don't want to toot my own horn, but you got people worrying about something that happened in 1967. I have a damn picture with one looking over with my fence with an eyeball, eye socket, pupil, but nobody. Well, and maybe and then I got in on this rant because I don't think anybody wants to validate stuff on YouTube. I think they just want to tear it down, knock it down.
Scared. They're too scared of the truth.
Well, nobody has come to me and said, you know what? I've analyzed this picture and I think this is 100% correct. But nobody has come and said, no, this is pareidolia, because I don't think they can. Because there's too many, like I said, if something, pareidolia doesn't have an eye socket, eyeball, pupil.
And if that's the case, then you go back to the same window, same time, same lighting, and see if there's pareidolia still there.
Well, I did.
Yeah, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, that means there's something there before that. Then.
Well, and I'm not saying 100% what it was or what it wasn't. Right. I'm just saying there was something there at that time.
Right. Yep. Yeah. People don't want to believe.
We have a good gauge. That fence, from the top to the bottom, is 6'2". All right. So anything above that is going to be taller than 6'2". So if you look at the picture, whatever it is, if you just do the measurements on it, is at least 7.5 feet. And I went out, we have boards, slats in the boards where I measured the face. The face is 15.5 inches. My face, I'm 5'11". Yeah. My face is, I think, 7.25. So it's almost the double the size of my face. And the one that Bigfoot Tony did with us, where you see the head popping up over the fence. I mean, how can anybody say that that's not something on there? That's
right.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, like, I don't think, if these guys were really out for the right reason to help people and help get this species established, but I think they're just more grandstanders. They just want to come out and say, well, look, this isn't what it is, and this is what it actually is. And I think it's more having a big head, I don't think they want to prove anything right or anything wrong. I think they just want to. It turns into like an ego thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't know what to say. You know, I mean, you get these people that so what? You have 30 years experience doing this, and
And
you haven't learned anything in the last 29 years. You know, I mean, you
well,
got one picture 30 years ago, and you've been grandstanding on that for 30 years. So it's like, come on, people, let's just move forward, get out there, and learn from each other, because you're learning from us, we're learning from you, everybody in the chat is learning from everybody. You know, I mean,
Yep.
that's what we
right.
need to do. We're going to get this done sooner. We're going to get it done faster. We're going to get it done better if we just quit bashing everybody's freaking evidence. The
It just
fact of the
works.
matter is we don't know. It's all theory. You
Why
know?
don't everybody just work together? Take my evidence, take your evidence, say, hey, this is what they do here, this is what they do here, this is what they look like here, this is the, the patterns they do here. I mean, you're going to get a lot more out of it just taking a video and saying, well, this isn't real. I mean,
Yep.
Right. You know, I mean, it's just, there's no right or wrong evidence at this point in the game.
No, that's why we started this
You can't
podcast.
discount any evidence.
Right.
You know, that was exactly why we did this whole thing, you know, is because you can't discount any evidence at this
Nope.
point in the game. No one
Right.
has ever been able to go out and film a group doing what they do and study them like they did the mountain gorillas. You know what I mean? Until that happens, it's all theory. You know,
Right.
you could say whatever you want. Oh, you know, but like you said, we take all the evidence into account. This person's group does this. This person over here, they do the same thing, and a pattern will emerge. And there's our answer. You know what I mean? But you're not going to get that pattern until you work together as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you keep a closed mind, you're gonna miss something. You're not gonna you're not gonna get the whole story. You know.
Yep.
So can't discriminate against anything. You just got to be an open mind and go forward. That's it.
This is what I always say. When everybody sees one, then you'll know. There will be no doubt. When everybody on this earth sees one, you'll know what you saw. People will try to tell you, oh, no, you saw a bear, you saw this, you saw that. And you're going to say, nope, I know exactly what I saw. And then everybody will know. I mean, it's that simple. When everybody sees one, everybody will know. But that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So
what do you do, like, now that you know he's there? What do you do to entice them? Are you doing anything to make them come back, or you don't have to do anything?
no, we really don't. That's what I'm saying. I think we took the dog food in, we bring the dogs in, but yet they still come.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's getting back to that routine type of thing. Or when I think it was is like when we started noticing this is when those deer had that wasting disease.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like a couple years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they knew before us, and they were looking for alternative food sources.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they were just.
That's that's a big possibility, because they're out there with the deer, you know?
Right.
So they would have seen it develop first, you know? And they're like,
Right.
yeah, dude, that don't look right. It don't smell right. So we need to go find something else. You know what I mean?
Well,
that makes perfect sense.
You know what was really creepy about your video was that the Bigfoot on your shed, the eyeball.
Oh yeah.
That kept look at the camera, looking at your house, look at the camera. That freaked me out. I was like getting goosebumps. I felt like I was in the darn freaking backyard, man. I was like, what in the world? That was creepy.
Is that the one where it throws that big about 5 pound piece that he got out the coolie?
Yeah, that was trippy, dude.
Yes, that was crazy, man. Because you can see what it's doing. It's doing the old peekaboo thing.
Yeah,
it's on the roof. You can you can't. Well, you can see kind of a silhouette, but you can see that eye for sure. And that was that big 100-watt light shining,
Yeah.
at him. And I don't know. People say they can, their eyes, they can make them glow, but I don't know. I think that was more like an eye shine type of thing, because you could see it blink. You could see it. It was doing this, and I think it was doing that very same thing we talked about, trying to hide behind that tree, and.
Yeah, there was another video I saw where the guy saw a camera and there was something going on, and you could see a shed and then a telephone pole. You couldn't see the right of the telephone pole because of the shed, but then you saw a face go, and then it kept doing it, and that's what they do. They keep poking out and coming back.
Yep. I mean, I can't tell you how many videos we have like that. I mean, it got to the point where I don't even put up the rock throwing videos anymore, because it's kind of like redundant. I mean, how many videos can I put up of something hitting our house?
Right. Yeah. That's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't rain rocks. It doesn't rain rocks in Louisiana.
And look, it could, somebody said, at one time, it could be kids or somebody just messing around, throwing rocks at the house. But the main, like I keep coming back to, explain to me how that 17-inch oily footprint got on the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I just want all these guys who are experts and, analyze this, analyze that. Explain it to me. I can, I don't mind somebody criticizing something as long as you give me your opinion or what you think it is. But just don't come on, and that's not with me, with everybody. Just don't come on and bash somebody just for bashing's sake. Give the guy or girl a reason why, hey, you don't think this is real. This could be a whatever, bear or whatever it is. I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for it to little kids to be doing it, because it's pretty consistent, and they're not getting any reaction out of you anyway. So there's no motive for them to keep coming back. So
no,
I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if I was a kid. I wouldn't. If I did it and you came out and started yelling, and maybe I would do it again and then do it again. But you're not coming out, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No,
so there's no action to their what they're doing. So it doesn't make any sense for kids to do that.
Right.
So especially that late at night.
Yeah. I mean, this was going on during, school nights, during the week, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it could start as early as 9:30 on a weekday, Yeah. And there's that one weird video that we have where it's like a Tuesday night, like 3:30 in the morning, 4 gunshots.
Dang.
You can tell it's a high-powered pistol. And my wife, we have a little subdivision app, asked, was somebody shooting at, of course, there's nobody going to admit to it, but one lady came back and said, my son thinks, oh no, that was the howling video. I'm sorry. That was the howling video. She did the gunshots, but that howling video she put on the subdivision app. People listened to it and said, oh, that's coyotes and that's this, that's that. Well, if y'all have listened to it, it's not a coyote and it's not a screech owl or barn owl. But anyway, one lady came back and said, my son, I think he was 5, and he lived in this subdivision, said he thinks it's a Bigfoot. And that intrigued me, because I was like, well, wait, why does this kid think it's a Bigfoot? Now, he could have been watching TV or something, but they also say these things like to look in kids' windows.
Yeah.
So we reached out to her, but she never did reply back to Rachel. So we never did really get a definitive answer.
Yeah, I've heard they do like that too. They like watching children because they're non-threatening. I mean, when's the last time they looked in a window and saw kids, and the kids saw them and they come out with a rifle? I don't think it happens too often.
No.
So grown-ups, I think that happens a lot more often. Even women come out with rifles.
Right.
So I think the children,
Yeah.
I think it's easier to watch, So
Yeah, and their brain set, I mean, it's free. It's not been contaminated with, oh, this doesn't exist, and all this, other
Right.
stuff that's been going on. All they're worrying about is who they're going to play with and what they're going to do that day. You know what I mean? So it's their brains are, a lot less
Innocent.
contaminated. Yeah, innocent, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, no preconceived notions about anything. I mean,
Right.
a kid
Right.
will never be scared to sleep in his room if you don't scare them or they don't watch scary movies because
That's
they
right.
don't know, you know.
Right. Right. Well, we are at the end of our hour. It has
Man, it's already
been
done?
absolute.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
know.
man. Time flies when you're having fun,
We
right?
haven't even got through all the pictures, so you might have to come back again. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to keep in touch with you. Have
Yeah.
you on the
Okay.
show again if you don't mind.
And we
Oh,
do
no.
have
And this has been
we have the Facebook also.
incredible.
Yeah, it's been you got some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And we have a Facebook group. You can also post all your videos on there if you want. It's the same name as this, but group instead of podcast.
Okay.
It's on Facebook. So you can put your pictures, your videos, whatever on that if you want. That'll probably help us out too. Get some Bigfoot stuff on there. So if anybody hasn't been on LA Swamp Ape, you guys are, just go there and check his videos out. They're really good. So
yeah, go check him out, man. He's got, I mean, you can hear the rocks hitting the roof.
Yeah, they're creepy. They're creepy, man.
You see the dogs running out in the yard staring at that fence.
Shine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see eye shine. I mean, and he goes back the next day during the day and says, "Look, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. What is this on this at this time? And nothing here now." I mean, there's something there. So go check out LA Swamp Ape. He is awesome stuff. You probably see him on a lot of other live chats, such as Bigfoot Odyssey and stuff like that from time to time. And you can chat with him there also and stuff like that. So thank you for coming on the show, Carl. It's been a pleasure. And keep in touch with us. And we'd like to have you on again in the future.
Hey, if you want, just email Kevin as soon as we're done here and reschedule again and come back on because you don't want to get backed up too far. And then we can talk about the rest of your photos. I want to hear more about those.
Yeah, and I have some more I can send.
Okay. Bring it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all for having me on. And the way me and Rachel feel about this, we just basically want to spread awareness that hey, these things are out there. We would hate for like a grandmother, grandfather to get caught in the woods camping with their grandkids and into these things, and because there's no protocol what to do. So I mean, just trying to we're trying to put the message across that, hey, these things are out there. Just be careful.
Yep. Just have an open mind so you're not too stunned.
Right. Just be aware that they are out there. They do exist, but like the Marines say, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. So don't play stupid games with them because they'll give you a stupid prize that you don't like.
I don't want that one.
And with that being said,
see ya.
Everyone have a good night.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Good night, Carl.
Thanks again.
All right.
Yep.